Hello viewers, my name is Ninjal Kolek.
And I am Martin.
And you're on Lightcast TV. Today on the headlines, you're going to concentrate on the biggest headline of the day. Court issues final ruling on Finance Act 2023. The High Court today declared some sections of the Finance Act 2023 unconstitutional, including the housing levy.
Within the meaning of Article 114 of the Constitution, however, it contains a matter that would not fall within the purview or incidental to a money bill, although this does not change its basic character and substance as a money bill. The specific extraneous matters identified by the court pertain to amendment of the Kenya Road Board Act 1999 through Section 76 and 78 of the Finance Act, amendments to the Unclaimed Assets Act by Section 87 of the Finance Act, and repeal of Section 21 of the Statutory Instruments Act by Sections 88 and 89 of the Finance Act. These amendments are extraneous to a money bill and are therefore unconstitutional. That under Article 220 and 221 of the Constitution, estimates of revenue and estimates of expenditure are part of the budget making process. The estimates of revenue were included in the approved estimates contained in the Appropriation Bill and the Appropriation Act of 2023, as published in the Kenya Gazette Supplement number 87 of 15th June 2023 and 98 of 26th June 2023, respectively.
Three-judge bench comprising Justices David Majanja, Christine Mioli, and Lawrence Mugambi ordered the government to cease collection of housing levy, holding it contravenes the Constitution. Immediately after the ruling, state attorneys asked the High Court for an order to prevent Kenyans from demanding house levy refunds, and in return, the court gave the government 45 days conservatory order so that it may be able to prepare itself for the day in which they will revert the monies that have been given to them by the salaried workers. So the three-judge bench ruled that the National Assembly Speaker Moses Wetangula did not have to seek concurrence from Senate Speaker Mason Kingi on the Finance Act 2023. And as we know, in the past, Chief Justice Martha Koome had selected the judges to hear and determine petitions challenging the Finance Act 2023. And we know the genesis of all this, the war between the government and the people who were trying to go against the Finance Act. We have lawyer and Busia Senator Okiya Mtata, the Law Society of Kenya, and others who had moved to court to challenge the Finance Act, saying that it was unconstitutional. And after the ruling, it was Okiya Mtata who celebrated moments after the ruling, citing the fact that the High Court bench has declared the housing levy unconstitutional for violating key provisions, including singling out the formal sector. Don, what are your thoughts?
It's not just the ruling. We should look at what will happen after the ruling, because we have seen for the past times the governments have been defying what the court always rules on particular issues. This Ruto's government, we saw back then the High Court ruled that the position of the CAS is unconstitutional. But right now it's not even clear if the CAS or the appointed CAS are still working. I think the government should come out and maybe reveal that thing clearly to the people, so that the people may know if Ruto's government is indeed following court orders. Because during their swearing in, Ruto said that he will not defy the courts, and he will follow what the courts maybe decision on the issues that they raise. After the ruling by the judges, we saw Gachagua come out lecturing the High Court on the ruling, saying that they should not sabotage the government operations.
Please help your country to plan, and the affordable housing is one of the most thoughtful strategies of our administration. One, to dignify people. Shelter is a constitutional requirement. We want Kenyans to have shelter, and not just shelter, but dignified shelter with proper sanitation, so that people can be dignified. Number two, that strategy, and we need your support, is also to create employment for our young people. I am aware that people have gone to court to try to suspend the housing levy and to sabotage the housing program. Much as we respect the independence of the judiciary, I want to request our judges to exercise judicial discretion and not sabotage that program. We have thousands of young people today who are now engaged in a housing program. That program will dignify the people of Kenya. It is the desire of every Kenyan who live in an urban center to own a home one day. And all of you here, that is your desire. Anybody who left the village for the urban to be an urbanite would want to own a home. Nobody wants to continue paying rent. That program enables Kenyans to own a home in an affordable manner. I appeal to our judicial officers not to allow themselves to sabotage that program. It's a good program. Already we have many young men and women who are working on these construction sites. The Governor Kwale here has said what they are looking forward to, and it's a good program. We want to ask the planners to support that program. I think PS Hinga will be coming here. We'll ask him to come and share the whole plan with you so that you are part of that process. So that even as we are putting up the houses, we have the requisite supporting infrastructure in terms of social amenities, schools, churches, playing fields, roads, water, sanitation, and it is you people to help us in that aspect so that we plan properly.
On the same breath, during Governor Arati's birthday and Thanksgiving ceremony in Kisii, attended by Raila Odinga and Kalonzo Musyoka, among other Azimio leaders, we saw Kalonzo Musyoka congratulating the High Court judges for the ruling.
Leo hii nashukuru Mahakama Kuu, the next court in line, our appeal court judges wamekubaliana na msimamo wa Azimio la Umoja wa Kenya, wakatupilia mbali ushuru wa inaitwa housing tax. Hatunatoa kama hamjui, hiyo imetolewa tukiwa hapa. Simba ulifanya vizuri kutuita, tukasikia uamuzi wa Mahakama Kuu, not the Supreme Court, the Court of Appeal, 3 judges. Wakasema hii koti hii ushuru wa nyumba ni unconstitutional. Kwa hivyo hapo wameanguka flat. Tuwapigie makofi majaji yetu. Kwa hivyo ni mshindi mkubwa, ni ushindi mkubwa wa Azimio la Umoja wa Kenya. Na ile mengine wasema unless wateremshe fuel tax kutoka 16% mpaka 8%, sisi tumeweka wazi hatukubaliani na hawa. Kwa hivyo kazi tumefanya, na yale mengine hakuna ambaye hajui. Sasa we need an IEBC, Independent Electoral Boundaries Commission, yenye itapata ambaye itakuwa na mamlaka sawa kutokana na mambo yote. Tusipoelewana, Raila na Ruto lazima waketi. Umenisikia hapo? Ya lazima mambo haya tutawazungumza, mjue kwamba tuko ngangari na tuwezi kuangusha nia na uzalendo wa wananchi wa Kenya.
The High Court has done its part. The Kenyans in some way have gotten their voices heard. Now the question that we should be asking ourselves, will the government be that brave to actualize what the High Court said? Or what will the government do after this? Will the government choose to ignore the voice of the people and continue with the finance or the housing levy? Since during the Finance Act hearing, the government won. So will they leave that win or that victory this time to the people?
From what we have seen, first I would like to comment on what the Deputy President said about the ruling against the housing levy, which is enshrined in the Finance Act 2023. I think Deputy President Rigathi Gachagua has refused to accept the High Court ruling, and probably, according to me, I think there were some vested interests that pertained this actual housing levy. Because first of all, when you look at this housing levy, it is targeting the salaried Kenyans who are working in the offices, or those who are working in the government, or those who have been those who have KRA and are actually working. They are taxed 3%. And so we have not been told exactly how this money is going to trickle in to be used as monies that will help build the housing fund. We do not know where it's being kept. We do not know the science behind this housing levy fund. We actually don't know anything about it. The PS of housing of the Kenya Kwanza government was not really clear about it, and so there are so many questions that are arising as a result of this housing levy. This is something that was imputed. something that was forced upon Kenyans, and the Kenyans regurgitated back because of the high cost of living. Seriously, the government cannot afford to ask Kenyans to give away their monies for the housing levy. The actual thing that the government was supposed to do was to look for other financial means in which they can get money. They had to be creative, not actually use monies that the Kenyan people are actually working for. I'm going to work Monday to Friday, 9 to 5 job, and you're taxing me that amount of money, and I do not see it. I do not actually see how it's trickling down to the housing levy. So I think Deputy Gachagua just does not want to accept the ruling, and I think it's time that the government stops contravening the rulings of the court. You remember that there were judges who ruled against Finance Act 2023. There were judges who ruled against the GMO, and there were judges who ruled against the CSS, who were chosen by President Ruto, and the parties that were agitating against this went to court. And the judges, immediately after they ruled against what the president had done, they were taken to other places. They were shipped to other counties, shipped to places outside Nairobi, which was very, very unfortunate. So you remember back then, Senator Okia Omtata, the senator for Busia, he warned President Ruto to his face back when President Ruto went to Busia that he will shut down that Finance Act. He actually termed the Finance Act as punitive, oppressive, and scandalous.
Mheshimiwa Rais, mimi nakwambia uko na sheria. Tuko na sheria na tufate sheria. Watu wameongea hapa mambo mengi, na unajua huko nyuma hii housing bill, hii housing tax, hii sio mara ya kwanza kuja. Hata mzee Uhuru alileta, na ni mimi ni mmoja wale tuliichapa mpaka ikarudi kuwa voluntary. Na nimemaliza kusoma bajeti yako, nimeisoma, kila ina maneno mazuri, ina maneno mabaya. Watu wasikudanganya hapa ati kila kitu iko sawa. Na yale maneno mabaya ambayo yako pale mengi inafuruga katiba. Bwana Rais, wewe ni rafiki yangu, lakini mbele ya katiba ni rafiki yangu mkubwa kuliko wewe. Na nimeangalia finance bill, na finance bill inafuruga katiba kwa vipengele kama 6. Na mimi nakuomba waheshimu katiba, wazitoe, kwa sababu wasipozitoa tunaenda kukabiliana kotini. There is nothing to complain about, but there's everything to fight for. But let us avoid that fight. Let people not fool you here. Let people not deceive you. There are issues in that katiba where even the Supreme Court has pronounced itself that need to be honored. We have things in that katiba kama hii housing levy. Ilikuwa kwa ile nyingine, na mimi ndio nilienda kotini kaichapa mpaka ikarudi kwa voluntary. Sasa mnataka tena nirudi kotini?
And we see that he was very forthright. I like the fact that Okia Mtata was very forthright, and it has come to pass that the 3-bench panel of judges, they shut down this housing levy, which means that the salaried Kenyans has a win. And so something else maybe to add on to that is that the court has agreed to give the government 45 days conservatory order to hold on to this housing levy that they have been receiving ever since the Finance Act was activated again. And so they have up to January 10th of 2024 to ensure that they create mechanisms and means in which they'll be able to effectively refund these monies to the concerned Kenyans who have been paying these taxes. Going to what Kalonzo said, I think he applauded the judges, and there are so many Kenyans out there who are actually up with the same sentiments. They are celebrating, and we are approaching Christmas, and some of the Kenyans that were on social media were actually had gone on to say that now sasa si itabidi wanirudishie pesa zangu ndio niweze kutumia hizo ku celebrate Christmas vizuri. But then again, the court order has come out that the government has been given 45 days conservatory order to hold on to the housing levy monies.
And do you think if the court would have said that they should refund immediately, do you think the government would have returned?
I think the government will not have been in a position, there could just have been a back and forth. So I think it was necessary for the government lawyers to address that issue immediately with immediate effect. And that is why the 3-bench panel gave the government that 45 window or latitude for them to be able to, kwa Kiswahili nitasema wajipange jinsi ambavyo watakavyorudisha hizo pesa. Yeah. We've all heard, so it is a quick win to salaried Kenyans. Congrats to those who have been crying out loud on this housing levy thingy. It has been a long road. And well, let us see whether the president, I am waiting to see what the president has to say about this. And also Raila Amolo Odinga has not commented on this. Yeah, key principles that you're waiting to see or to hail their sentiments on the issue of the Finance Act, the housing levy on the Finance Act being repealed or being ruled against by the 3-bench panel. I think that is it from us, Lightcast TV. My name is Ninjal Kolek.
Yeah, subscribe to our YouTube channel. Follow us on Facebook at Lightcast TV Kenya. My name is Martin. I'll see you on the next one.